Hello, welcome to the Indie Lounge. I'm your host, Mandy Del Rio. Today we have a very unique show lined up for you. Recently, the Indie Lounge crew went to a huge horror, sci-fi, and zombie convention called the Walker Stalker Con over in Secaucus, New Jersey at the Meadowlands. And this is an annual huge convention that mainly focuses on AMC's hit TV show, The Walking Dead, but there are other celebrities there as well. We were able to get some very exclusive, fantastic interviews with several celebrities, and we like to share those with you. So if you sit back, relax, and enjoy our trip to the Walker Stalker Con, we'll be back afterwards. Here we are at the Walker Stalker Con at the Meadowlands in Secaucus, New Jersey. We're going to go inside and see who we can meet.
Hey, how are you? Good. My brother lives here. I'm going to come over and say hello. Right on.
The first film I did was this old film, but called Cry Funny Happy, that went to Sundance.
Oh, nice.
And then I did this other film that eventually was called Unnecessary Death, that went to South by Southwest and won the Audience Award at AFI. Most of my early career was all indie films, which, you know, these little films, you believe in the story, you appreciate the people who are involved, and you end up just like, you know, you're all making food for yourselves in between takes.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as crafty, there's none of that jazz. You know, you're holding the lights when the coverage is on them. And those were all really positive experiences, so I'm always open to it. Nothing right now. I'm doing a thriller for Legendary. So that's not too indie. It's pretty mainstream.
Can you tell us anything about that? Or?
Yeah, no. It's called The Thinning. It's a sort of dystopian overpopulation tale in the future. And I play sort of a bad guy who's part of the institution.
Oh, nice.
Another maybe less than lovable character.
Alright, well, you got that down.
Yeah, so far.
The Walking Dead was fun because I have done a lot of independent films where you go, you get paid hardly anything, but it's really enjoyable. Like I did one last year. I've done a lot of films that have been at Tribeca, which is a lot of fun to do too. And The Walking Dead is weird because you do an independent film and not many people see it. It's very satisfying. And then you do The Walking Dead and all of a sudden people in Japan are writing to you. So it's kind of odd.
When did you start acting?
I started acting when I was around like 8 or maybe 9, and yeah, I think around that. And I came from Texas, and we would come out here for auditions, and we finally moved here.
Now, what are some of the other roles that you know, how did you land such an amazing role?
Oh well, I actually shot a movie recently that's coming out soon. It's called Miracles from Heaven with Jennifer Garner and Martin Henderson, and that's coming out March 18th.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm super excited about that.
Nice. And where are you from originally?
I was born and raised in South Carolina, and then I moved to Atlanta, and then I moved to LA.
Was The Walking Dead trying on you? I mean, that's a lot of, you're out in the elements. I mean, I've heard, you know, even...
It was a really fun experience. It wasn't, you know, that trying. Auditioning for it, I didn't really know what it was, but it was just like any normal audition, except they didn't give you the full, like, an actual script because, you know, it's very secretive. So I just auditioned with the fake script, and then, you know, so I'll call back, and then I did a read with Buddy, and I got it, and then, you know, just working on it was such a great experience, and I loved it so much. It was just really fun.
What's coming up for you, Kyla Kennedy?
I actually just did a film that should be coming out soon, so I'm really excited about that. And then I recently shot a pilot for Fox.
You and I were actually in a movie together.
I'm excited.
Angels in the Outfield.
No
we were
way.
Both extras. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you
That
were a
is
baseball
awesome.
player.
Yes, Angels in the Outfield was great. It was my first. It was my first taste of being on a movie set and being part of the operation. And if it was something that I was going to want to do, because at the time I was a baseball player, and I passed on continuing my baseball career to pursue acting.
Yeah. We're here with Ming Chen of Comic Book Men, and you guys
guys shoot in the Secret Stash in Red Bank, New Jersey.
We do. It's fun at Walker Stalker, New York, New Jersey. We're in Secaucus. It's like it's in my backyard. I got to drive up here.
Yeah.
I've been playing tour guide. Like everyone's, you're from this area, right? And I'm like, well, I live in Red Bank. I don't know if I could find all the gems, but yeah, somehow it's happening. So everyone's coming to me for advice there. Like, hey, you want good stuff? It's very easy. Pork roll and jug handles. That's it. I mean, that's all you need to know about this state. I've been working with Kevin Smith for about 20 years, and when you work with him, all this crazy stuff happens.
Yeah.
So I could wind up on the moon one day because I know him. But yeah, there's one day he was like, listen, this is gonna sound weird, but they're gonna shoot a reality show at my comic book store, the one that I own, Jamestown Bob's Secret Stash. I'm like, oh, that's great. I'll totally watch that. He's like, no, you don't understand. They want you on it too. I'm like, what? I'm not. I'm just a guy who was at the store. I sling comic books. I just read Batman, Superman. I was like, what? I'm not an actor. Like, what are you talking about? TV? He's like, no, they want you on there. I'm like, okay. I kind of wrote it off after that, and then it happened. And 5 seasons later, here I am at Walker Stalker Con. We follow The Walking Dead, the biggest TV show on the planet right now. So yeah, it's kind of cool.
So how did you get started on this whole TV show?
Actually, when you work for Kevin Smith, weird things happen to you. I mean, how did it happen? I have no idea. I'm still in shock that people have been. I'm in shock that we're on for 5 seasons. Most of my favorite TV shows didn't make it 5 seasons. I mean, look, Serenity. I mean, Firefly. 1 season, done. We're still on. How is that fair?
Are you gonna keep going from here in front of the camera? Like you want to be an actor?
Absolutely not. Oh my God, no way. Yeah.
Wow, you guys are hilarious. You got it, you know?
No, well, you know what? Hollywood, call me.
So when did you get into acting? When did you start?
I've been acting pretty much all my life. I was doing Christmas musicals in my Catholic school from 8th grade, and then I studied drama. I was in drama club in high school. So I've been pursuing it for practically my whole life. So this is a great opportunity. A long time coming, but hard work pays off. So it's very humbling to be a part of something that I love as a fan.
I've done a lot of indie films. One of them, for example, is Hatchet 3. Right there. That was a nice little indie that we did that Adam Green produced. And we shot down in New Orleans. When I'm talking indie, I'm talking about budgets somewhere in the area of like, $500,000 to $1 million. Small films like that, but with really good crews and kind of, high-level technical ability for the people there. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of, you have your studio films, but the bread and butter of the American film industry is the indie film. And you see that kind of reflected in Sundance. So, yeah, it gives actors a lot of work. And, they're legitimate, interesting productions, kind of push the envelope a little more than studio movies.
The Walking Dead this show has validated my entire life. Because when I was a kid, I saw Night of the Living Dead when it came out when I was 8 years old. And a lot of kids in school used to view me as a weirdo, a nerd, a geek, because I was into these zombie movies. And now finally, the ones who don't watch the zombie TV show, they're the nerds, the geeks, and the oddballs. And I'm hip. I'm just totally groovy and hip. My whole life has been justified by The Walking Dead.
Hope you enjoyed our trip to the Walker Stalker Con. Coming up next, we will have feature film director, writer, and producer Jack Thomas Smith. Stay tuned.
And I can't change, even if I try, even if I wanted to. My love, my love, my love. She keeps me warm.
We are neighbors and best friends.
I love my sister.
My heart doesn't see race. Love is love.
Our family is no less than any other family.
Love is kind. Love is patient.
Hello, welcome back to the Indie Lounge. I'm here with my guest, feature film director, writer, and producer Jack Thomas Smith, who also happens to be the executive producer of the Indie Lounge. Hello, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely, on this side of the camera.
I know, it's weird, right?
So we just showed the audience our clips of Walker Stalker Con.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun, wasn't it?
It was awesome. I mean, first of all, I want to give a big shout out to our crew.
Mm-hmm.
So we had Mark Hoffman, who came with us. He handled the camera operations. My daughter, Megan Smith, was one of our PAs. Your daughter, Luna Del Rio, is one of our PAs.
Our beautiful
and
daughters.
Our beautiful daughters. And my great friend, Nick Sherrilambis, was our photographer.
Yep.
So big shout out to our crew.
Yeah, you were awesome.
And it was so cool. They had, as you saw, they had the entire, the cast of The Walking Dead. They had other celebrities there. And, and on a side note with the whole event, we didn't actually see it happen, but apparently that was the day when Norman Reedus got bit by a fan.
Yes.
Which was insane. So
I'm
I guess
surprised it only happened once.
I know,
with,
I know, because that's the thing. The casts, they are so accessible,
right?
And they're amazing. Norman Reedus, Sean Patrick Flannery, Michael Rooker.
Yeah.
These guys just know how to treat their fan base.
Absolutely.
And then I forget the gentleman's name, the actor from Vampire Diaries, but
Ian Somerhalder.
Thank you. Yeah,
right.
I heard that his line was so long at closing that he refused to leave until every single one of the people in line got to meet him and got to get a photo with him.
Awesome. That is awesome.
Anyway, fun event.
Absolutely,
and it was
it's run
cool.
very well.
Yeah.
It's run extremely well, and like I said, it's actually a worldwide event annually. So if anyone in our audience wants to go to one of these and meet some of these amazing celebrities, go to their website, walkerstalkercon.com. And I'm sure you'll find something near you.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, a couple of those were noted. I noted, and even the ones we spoke to, everyone was fantastic.
Oh, they were great, yeah.
And I was kind of observing a couple of the people that really stood out. Lou Temple, of course.
Yeah, he was
is
awesome.
One. Yeah, that was a great
yeah,
interview.
Lou was
it was
cool.
a lot longer than that.
Yeah.
But watching him interact with fans, he gives everybody.
Half
an hour.
Yeah.
I noted you said Sean Patrick Flannery, and one incident made me laugh. I was watching him interact with his fans, and he actually called a fan's friend on the phone, and this girl, she almost collapsed from laughing so hard. But these people really know how to treat their fans, and like I said, it's a really well-run show. So it was fun. We had a lot of fun.
It was great, and you and I are both huge fans of The Walking Dead, so that was just very cool, just being there, and then plus recently the whole storyline with Glenn. Being trapped under the dumpster and everything, and
played by Stephen Yeun.
And Nicholas. Yeah, we got to Michael Traynor. We got to speak with him, and he was very cool.
No, absolute pro.
So yeah, it was a lot of fun, and Luna and Meg got to get photos with Stephen Yeun. So
quite rewarding.
Made their day.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was fun. So I want to make sure we have enough time with you.
Sure.
So let's start. You have had 2 huge feature films distributed, and Disorder and Infliction. And I know I've had you on the show at the previous studio.
Sure.
But I want to introduce our new audiences to you.
Cool.
And ask you. Let's talk about, since Disorder was first. Do you want to talk about Disorder first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure. Disorder was the first film that I wrote, produced, and directed. It's a psychological thriller. The main character is a paranoid schizophrenic, so the entire film is told from his perspective, and you don't know what's real, what isn't. And right when you think you have it all figured out, there's a twist ending to it. It's got that whole feel to it, De Palma, Hitchcock,
Very
that type
much,
of thing. So I got very lucky with Disorder. We shot the film up in the Poconos, and you know, a small budget film. We didn't have any big name stars in it, and we were able to secure a distribution deal with Universal nationwide on DVD. Which was awesome because that was in every Walmart, every Hollywood Video, movie gallery, Blockbuster. It was in all the major chains. So that was a trip walking in and seeing my little indie film on the new release shelf, sandwiched between, you know, one of the Mission Impossibles and one of the X-Men movies.
Right,
so it was pretty cool.
That is really cool.
And then Warner Brothers released it on video on demand and pay-per-view and all that. So yeah, I did great with that, and it was an amazing experience.
And it's a fantastic film.
Thank you.
Yeah, and like you said, it's very De Palma-esque,
Yeah.
but it's completely original, which is awesome.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, what kind of research did you do? You know, I'm always interested in like really what goes behind the scenes, you know, and I actually know a lot because, you know, but you and I are buds. But, you know, I'd like you to tell our audience, what did you do to, you know,
research
it? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Going back now, and when I wrote Disorder, there was just and I wish I could remember her name, a psychiatrist local up in the Poconos that I just would call her up and just say, I'm a filmmaker and I'm writing this script, and I just want to make sure I have all my ducks in a row in terms of dealing with the personality traits of a paranoid schizophrenic. And this lady was kind enough to walk me through all of the different characteristics. You know, you have delusions of grandeur, you have delusions of persecution. You know, the delusions of persecution, a lot of times that'll pertain to you know, if a schizophrenic's in a subway in New York and they think the person in front of them wants to kill them, and the poor guy's just sitting there waiting for a train and pushes them in front of a train. We hear these stories all the time. So I wanted to be very real. I wanted to be very accurate as to what goes on in someone's mind who suffers from this mental disability. So it was a lot of research, you know, and then I was able to take it and apply it, you know, to the story.
Well, it certainly, you can tell by the way that the main character, it's Darren
Kendrick is the lead actor,
He's really good.
Did an amazing job.
He really did. And you can tell, because I've met Darren, he's nothing like that. And so he's really good in it, and you can tell you really did your homework, and obviously he brought what, you know, he
did his homework as well.
Now, we're going to get into the next film. I know we're going to go on a short break in a couple of minutes.
Okay.
But you shot that, you said, in the Poconos.
Yeah, we shot up in East Stroudsburg. We shot in Blairstown in New Jersey. We shot over by the Delaware Water Gap in New Jersey. Oh, it was awesome. We shot over by Millbrook Village. The National Park Service let us use this house that was about, God, it was like 200, 300 years old. It was like this old farmhouse. And it looked haunted, and it was great. They let us have the run of the whole area, you know. So we basically turned this farmhouse into like our little production studio. We faked like 10 different locations out of it.
That is
so
cool.
yeah, it was so cool. The National Park Service was awesome. So yeah, it was really a lot of fun to shoot.
Sounds like it was
there.
an amazing
61-day shoot for an indie film. 61. We used to joke around that it was like the apocalypse now of indie filmmaking, the shoot that would never end. You know? So it was cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, well, we're going to take a short break, but when we come back, I want to talk about your next film, Infliction. So stay tuned. We'll come back with more Jack Thomas Smith. Welcome back. We're here with Jack Thomas Smith, feature film director, writer, and producer. Jack, we just talked about Disorder, your first movie.
Yep.
And, now let's talk about your more recent film, which I actually helped out on too, Infliction.
That's how we met.
That's how we met. That's right. It's a great story too, for another time.
I know.
So let's talk about Infliction. What is Infliction about? Who distributed it and all that?
Sure. Basically, the way I describe Infliction, it's a disturbing assembled footage film that documents a murder spree committed by two brothers in North Carolina in 2011, and you find out the horrific truth behind their actions. So same thing as Disorder. It was an indie film. We didn't have any major stars in it. We shot it in North Carolina. We shot down there because of the tax credit incentives. But it eventually got released by Virgil Films and Entertainment. They're the same company that released Super Size Me. So Infliction's, it's available everywhere. I mean, it's Walmart, Best Buy, Barnes & Noble. You can get it anywhere online. And we did a small theatrical run with it in 2014. It opened in, we were doing theaters and, and doing a lot of horror convention screenings and all that. So it was a great experience, and right now it's being represented by Cardinal XD, which is a foreign sales agency, and they're representing it for sale around the world. We just closed a deal in Portugal, so Infliction will be screening in Portugal. So, and then we're waiting to hear about the Philippines. Looks like we're getting a theatrical release there as well. So, and most importantly, that's where you and I met.
In the Philippines?
No, not in the Philippines, Infliction. And the Philippines, but that's another story.
So that was my favorite part about the movie, too. I know that was your favorite experience about the movie as well, meeting in the Philippines.
Meeting in the Philippines.
No, but aside from that, that's great, by the way. This is your second. I mean, you make it look so easy.
Oh,
Not everyone can get their indie film released, so congrats. And
thank you.
You worked very hard. I will vouch for that.
I've been very lucky, you know, and it's such a challenge. I mean, there are films out there right now that have stars attached that can't get distribution. I mean, the market is so tough now, and it's just so geared for the big Hollywood movies now. You know, the big blockbuster releases. It's a shame. I mean, I'm such a fan of the new Hollywood era back in the 70s. That to me is the best time period of film. You know, when you had guys like Scorsese, Lucas, Spielberg, Coppola, I mean, just what a time period. Apocalypse Now, Godfather, Star Wars, you can just go on and on and on, Jaws. So that to me was, what was great about that time period was that the Hollywood films were like indie films of today. They were, you know, so you had studios greenlighting what we deem as art house films now.
Right,
you know? I mean,
They
like
used to be just regular movies.
Right? Do you really think Taxi Driver would have been made by a major studio today? There's no way. That would have just been some, you know, indie film that, you know, with unknown actors in it that probably would have never seen the light of day. You know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's such a different world now. You know, it's just they pump out, and it's okay if you like action, blockbusters. That's fine. But I think, you know, there's been a sort of resurge though. You know, when you have filmmakers like David O. Russell, you know, who were, I know you and I are both big fans of, with The Fighter and American Hustle.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of felt like when I watched those again, it was like kind of watching those old Scorsese
that era
films again.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, and that's like you know, you shot I think Disorder was shot on film, correct?
We shot Disorder on film. We shot on Super 16, so it kind of had that gritty look to it, which was cool. You know, we wanted it to have a gritty feel. And we also wanted the main character, because he was a paranoid schizophrenic. We also wanted to make him feel isolated. You know, he was living in this big house in the middle of the woods. So that in and of itself, he was isolated, but also lots of close-ups, just giving that feel like he was boxed in, you know, not only in life, but also in his mind.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And what's cool, too, is that you experienced just complete both sides of the spectrum. So then you went from Disorder that was filmed to Infliction that was digital.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on that? What do you prefer?
I mean, I love the look of film,
Yeah.
but from a shooting standpoint, digital's awesome. I
Right.
mean, it's, with Infliction, because we shot it to look like real footage, there's no way we could have shot that film or that movie on film.
Right.
There would have been no way. So, with Infliction, you could shoot it, you could immediately watch what you shot. If
Right.
it didn't look right, you could reshoot it, and you can shoot as much as you want. There's no cost.
Right,
Whereas
right.
with film, there was a cost. I
Yeah.
mean, film stock costs money, then to process and transfer costs money, transferring it to VHS to view. And then you would have your digital beta or HD masters. So there were just all these costs involved. Whereas when you shoot digitally, it goes right to a hard drive, and that's it.
Yeah. So from an artistic point of view, you really like the way film
I love film.
looks. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah.
But I guess from an indie cost perspective, that makes sense.
Digital is good and bad. I mean, it's good because it's allowed people who never would have had the resources to make a movie to make a movie.
Right.
So that's a great thing.
Yeah.
The bad thing is that now the market is so watered down.
It allows people to make the films that they normally wouldn't have been able to make.
It's
your same point. I get it. It's the same exact point you just made. But
exactly.
Negative light.
Exactly. It's 20 years ago, people who were making movies, they were shooting on film, so you knew they had to have money there, okay? And it basically makes it more legitimate. And I'm not trying to sound, condescending or like a jerk or anything, but if you had money to make a film, chances are there was some sort of legitimacy to you in the project. But now it's, you can pick up a camera and shoot a movie, and suddenly you're a filmmaker.
I'm going to Sundance, I think.
Yeah. I think Sundance or Toronto Film Festival had a film there that was completely shot on an iPhone.
Yeah.
So, and who knows, there could be some brilliance there, but you're just.
But now there's so many.
There's so many, and it's watering down the market.
Yeah, I get it. Well, congrats again on your success with Infliction as well. And like I said, I can vouch for all the hard work you put into it.
Yeah.
I want to, before we wrap up, I want to talk about the book that you're a contributing author to 3 volumes of Horror 201, The Silver Scream, correct?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty big because some of your, I know, favorite filmmakers.
Some of my idols,
Yeah, so tell us just a little bit about that before we have to wrap up.
Yeah, no problem, real quick. It's called Horror 201, The Silver Scream. It's published by Crystal Lake Publishing. And there's 3 volumes. I'm a guest contributor on it. I also, they did an interview. My interview in its entirety is in the 2nd volume. And it's basically an instructional for future filmmakers, for up-and-coming filmmakers. And we kind of talk about the pros and cons of indie filmmaking. And, some of the guest contributors are Wes Craven, George Romero, John Russo, John Carpenter.
John Russo's a friend of yours.
John Russo's a friend of mine. So it was great being a part of that.
That's great. And Tom Holland is
Tom
in
Holland,
it,
who did Fright Night.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, do you know where we can pick that up?
It's available Amazon, it's online, and I think the paperback's coming out soon.
Great.
So I'll be getting a copy of the paperback. That'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, that is going to be really cool. It'll be right in our collection there. Where can people go to find out more about you, and where can they keep up on what you're doing?
My production website is foxtrailproductions.com. The official website for Infliction is inflictiontapes.com. And then we've got about a dozen Twitter accounts that have been promoting Infliction. So the primary one is at Infliction Tapes. And then also we have a Facebook page, which is Facebook Infliction Tapes. So.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for being on this side of the camera today.
I know, thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Thanks for
You did
dragging
great.
me out,
Yeah. It was bound to happen again, so. All right, well, we are wrapping up now. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you enjoyed this very unique show. For more about the Indie Lounge, you can go to our Facebook page, Indie Lounge TV. You can visit our website, indieloungetv.com. You can email me directly, mandy@indieloungetv.com. And follow us on Twitter, Indie Lounge TV, a lot of Indie Lounge TV. So I appreciate it, and thank you very much for watching.